Senate will come to order. The senators will please take their seats. Those persons not entitled to the privileges of the floor will retire to the gallery. Good morning, senators.
Good morning.
Good morning, guests. The senators and all in attendance, if you are able, please stand. We will be led in prayer this morning by the Reverend Teresa K. McRoberts of Jubilee Ministries in Enrico. Following the prayer, everyone will please remain standing, and we will be led in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America by our Senate page, Grayson Parsley of Mechanicsville.
Let us pray. God of justice and mercy, the assembled leaders of the Commonwealth of Virginia, their staff, and their guests gather here and ask to be placed under the protection and power of your divine will. We come with gratitude. We thank you that you have called this legislative body to its work on behalf of the citizens of Virginia. Thank you for the eyes and hearts of the senators that enable them to see and to discern the concerns of the Commonwealth. And thank you also for the gifts, skills, talents, and abilities of each member and all those who will appear today. We come with humility. We know that humans are imperfect and often seek to please themselves rather than seeking to follow you with joy. We know that the human condition is in need of your redemption and pray to receive it. We come with needs and desires. In a time when fear and doubt, distrust and anxiety, injustice and indifference threaten our well-being and the fabric of our society, we recognize the need for steadfast integrity and courageous voices in our leaders. Where power struggles and divisiveness would detract from development, growth, and productivity for our Commonwealth, we pray for your strength to promote human dignity and to nurture life-sustaining community. We pray that the discourse of this body will be characterized by respect for one another, and that all consideration and deliberation will be filled with your spirit of wisdom and discernment. We ask that you bless and consecrate the work of this body so that the reports and actions of those gathered here benefit the common good and bring glory to you, our Creator. We pray your compassion and your grace over the senators and the staff present here, over those who are tending to their business elsewhere, over our Lieutenant Governor, and over all the paid workers and volunteers who see to the details of leading Virginia during this session. May each person feel your guiding hand and be filled with your hope as you fashion each of us into agents of your love, grace, justice, and mercy. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The clerk will call the roll. All those present, please vote aye. The clerk will close the roll.
It's 40. I'm sorry. You have a quorum, Madam President. Senate Journal for Wednesday, February 15th, 2023.
The senator from Hanover, Senator McDougal, moves that the reading of the journal be waived. All those in favor of waiving the reading of the journal will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 33, noes 6.
Ayes 33, no 6. The reading of the journal is waived. Clerk will report any communications from the House of Delegates. Chair recognizes the senior senator from Fairfax County, Senator Saslaw.
Madam President, I move that we waive the reading of the communications from the House.
The question is, shall the reading of the communication be waived? All those in favor of waiving the reading of the communication from the House of Delegates will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 35, noes 5.
Ayes 35, noes 5. The reading of the communication is waived. The clerk will report any communications from the governor.
We do not have any, Madam President.
We have arrived at the time in our morning hour when we will discover who our wonderful guests are. The procedure normally is that your senator will rise and speak about you, and rise at that time as well. And then I will give my remarks, and if you would hold your applause until after my remarks, that'll make it run a little smoother. And so, with that, I call on Senator Donovan, the senator from Enrico.
Thank you, Madam President. I rise for the purpose of an introduction.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the body. I hope you will welcome and very much thank Teresa Roberts, who led us in prayer this morning. She describes herself, and some of you might appreciate this, and maybe you should think about it, as a recovering lawyer. Yes, there's something to think. I can help you guys. She started this ministry after serving as a lawyer in Henrico for a long time. She works in a variety of churches, and she leads Jubilee Ministries. This promotes, Madam President, and I love it, renewal and reconciliation within and along with individuals in the community, which we all know we desperately need. She lives in Henrico with her husband and their 3 children, and I hope that we can extend her the warm welcome of the Senate this morning.
Reverend, please rise. We thank you for coming again, and we thank you for that prayer. And yes, you may be a recovering lawyer, but I note that it's a ministry when you are an attorney, and you are just moving into another ministry, and you're doing well there as well with all the sacrifices that you're making in your community. Senators, let us give her the warm welcome of her Senate. Chair recognizes Senator Reeds, the senator from Spotsylvania.
Thank you, Madam President. I rise for an introduction.
The senator has the floor.
Madam President, I actually have 2, but I know one of the members is still over in the House. So if it's okay, I'll just proceed with one at this point.
The senator may continue.
Thank you, Madam President. In the gallery today, ladies and gentlemen, is a dear, dear friend of mine, a gentleman named Laird Knight. And Laird has been a staunch supporter, but more of a mentor to me the time that I've been in office. And he came down today to see how we do business down here. And I just want to give him the warm welcome of the body and thank him for the years of support and friendship and mentorship. Thank you, Madam President.
Well, good afternoon to you. And thank you for coming and seeing how we actually do the business. And hopefully you're doing some advocating yourself. Senators, let us give him the warm welcome of his Senate. Senator Reeves.
Thank you, Madam President. It looks like I rise for another introduction.
The senator has the floor.
Ladies and gentlemen of the body, I'd like to introduce somebody who I've gotten to know as a friend, not only to those of us in Virginia, but to our country as a whole. We have a special dignitary in the gallery today, Ambassador Bai Kim So of Taiwan, and she is here today to meet with our governor about how we can further the relationship between our state and the country of Taiwan, especially as they undergo the trials and tribulations and the threat of war as they continue to try to stay as a republic, a democrat republic. And we just want to thank her and give her the good greetings of the Senate.
Please rise, Ambassador, and your detail as well. Thank you all for coming, and indeed how good it is when we try to foster relations among our international friends, because we realize we're not on this planet alone. Thank you for being there. Senators, let us give them the warm welcome of our Senate. Chair recognizes Senator Hashmi, the senior senator from Chesterfield.
Thank you, Madam President. I rise for 2 introductions.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. Joining us in the gallery today is the staff from the Reading and Education for Adult Development, which is also known as READ, the READ Center. The READ Center is a community-based nonprofit organization whose mission is changing lives through adult literacy. For 38 years, READ has served Metro Richmond, offering literacy education to native speakers of English as well as speakers of other languages who can converse in English. And READ provides classroom instruction, one-to-one tutoring, and community programming. Every year, the READ Center helps hundreds of adults across Metro Richmond realize their potential through increased literacy skills, and I ask that we give them the warm welcome of the Senate.
Please rise. We thank you so very much for coming, and I think more importantly for being a part of READ. If a child cannot read, a child does not have a future. That is absolutely foundational. Thank you for doing that hard work of ensuring our children have a future. Senators, let us give them the warm welcome of their Senate. Senator Hashmi.
Thank you, Madam President. Also joining us today are students from Open High School, which is located in Richmond. And I know the Richmond delegation joins me in welcoming Open High School here. The students are members of the Open High School Environmental Justice Club, and this is actually their second time visiting the Capitol Square this session to observe the processes of our state government and also observing live floor votes. These motivated students are acting now in order to ensure a livable future for their own generation, and I ask that we give them the warm welcome of the Senate.
Please rise. So this is your second time, and you're probably seeing us a little bit more tired, a little bit more bags under the eyes because we're getting towards the end. But it's so wonderful that you get this experience, and you're doing your very great civic duty in observing and participating in the legislative process. Senators, let us give them the warm welcome of their Senate. Chair recognizes Senator Normand, the senator from James City County.
Thank you, Madam President. I rise for 2 introductions.
The senator may continue.
Madam President, every morning as I look around the Senate, I see quite a few middle-aged individuals, and I see some of us that are chronologically mature, even if our behavior is not maturing. And I think it's always exciting when we have a group of young people that are with us in their infectious enthusiasm and that they encourage us. And I have 2 groups I would like to introduce this morning and have you to extend a warm welcome to. Madam President, the first group takes us back in history. On May the 14th of 1864. A group of young men marched all the way from Lexington, Virginia to Newmarket to participate in a battle that took place, and these were the cadets from VMI. Today, the cadets from VMI have made a journey from Lexington to Richmond. Blessedly, they did not have to walk, but they are here as they come every year. And as all of you know, that when you make the decision to go to Virginia Military Institute for college education, you have made a very distinctive and different decision on your higher education pursuits. And at VMI, the cadets, ladies and men, continue to go through a very rigorous training and an adherence to traditions on many levels, and those traditions involved impeccable honesty. They involve respect for history and leadership. One of the things that my caucus members will tell you that I have repeated frequently, you don't lead by following, you lead by leading, and that's the young ladies and gentlemen that we are educating at VMI. They have been roaming around the halls introducing themselves to you, and I would appreciate it if you would extend a very warm welcome from the Senate of Virginia to those of us who enjoy and value calling ourselves brotherettes.
Please rise. My, how marvelous you look. And so I looked up the definition of cadet, just to be sure, and of course it means someone who is in training to become fill in the blank. Normally it's military service, but I say that's someone in training to become usually an officer and a gentleman, or an officer and a gentlewoman. But I say to you, even if you don't go into military service, we expect you to be good citizens of our great Commonwealth and our great country. Thank you for the sacrifices you're making. Thank you, sir, for being a part of the program. Senators, let us give them the warm welcome of their Senate. Senator Normand.
Thank you, Madam President. As you looked at the gallery, you may have noticed that several of the ladies and gentlemen had stars on their sleeves. That means that they are academically exceptional, and I told them this morning if they took my GPA when I graduated and doubled it, I still would not have gotten stars, so I have a great respect for them. Madam President, I'd appreciate it if you would extend a warm welcome to another group of young people that are with us today, but these individuals have been with us throughout this entire session, and they are a group of interns that have been working with my office, and I am so blessed to have them lending their assistance. The first young lady who is with us in the gallery is Grace Sukol, and Grace is currently a junior, if you can believe it, at the College of William and Mary, where she's obtaining a Bachelor of Arts degree in public policy. She is an active member of the Kappa Kappa Gamma sorority and serves in the Haven, which is a branch of the Dean's Office, which is involved in counseling services on campus for survivors of sexual assaults. She has worked in the President's office there, and I think we have enticed her so much here in the General Assembly of Virginia that she has gotten very brave and has made the decision that she will be joining a Virginia congressman's office the first part of the summer. The second intern who is up there is Ben Robb, and Ben is a second-year law student at the University of Richmond Law School. Prior to the admission to the University of Richmond, he was a student at Michigan State University, where they play real football. He had a double major in political theory and constitutional democracy with a minor in European studies. He was born and raised in the suburbs of Detroit, Michigan. And interestingly enough, his professional career brought him to an internship on Capitol Hill and now here in Richmond in my office, but he hopes to have a career in government relations. So if any of you have an opportunity, you might talk to the young man. The third and final is Guy Servon. Guy is a junior at the University of Richmond, where he's getting a dual degree, doubling major in business administration in philosophy, politics, economics, and law. He is a senator, like many of us, but in the Richmond College Student Government Association, and he's a member of the business fraternity. And I'm very proud of all three of these young people. If you would extend our appreciation to them, Madam President.
Please rise. There you are. Well, we have one person moving from the state level and now onto the federal level. And my regards in that endeavor, and a career in government and politics, and that's going to be interesting. And of course, lastly, philosophy, economics, politics, and law. God bless you. Apparently, you've not been scared off as you watch our minority leader during the proceedings of every day. So thank you for being there, and you know we need you more than anything. Our interns help us to run this place. Thank you very much. Senators, let us give them the warm welcome of their Senate. Chair recognizes Senator McClellan, the senior senator from Richmond.
Thank you, Madam President. I rise for 2 introductions.
The senator may continue.
Thank you, Madam President. The first, we have joining us today Destiny Ward, who is a representative of the blind and vision impaired community. Destiny began losing her vision her senior year of high school and enrolled in a 9-month residency program with the Virginia Rehabilitation Center for the Blind and Vision Impaired. She is starting as a college freshman this fall, and over the last year, she has interviewed a number of Virginia's post-secondary institutions about their lack of resources and accessibility for blind students. She is here today to advocate for disabled students and equitable education, as well as for the Virginia Rehabilitation Center for the Blind and the Vision Impaired, and I hope that we give Destiny a warm Senate welcome.
Destiny, please rise. There you are. Thank you, Destiny, for your advocacy. Thank you for your care. Indeed, it's a sacrifice that you're making, and we're so glad that you are there. Please continue your work. Senators, let us give her the warm welcome of her Senate. Senator McClellan.
Thank you, Madam President. We are also joined today by the National Coalition of 100 Black Women, which was founded in 1981. And this 40-year-old advocacy organization brings a united voice for Black girls and women and serves as a vehicle for the professional development of Black women. There are about 121 career professional women in this coalition, and they draw upon the strength of membership to address issues of concern. As a nonpartisan advocacy organization, they seek to promote leadership and gender equality or equity in the areas of health, education, and economic empowerment. And I ask that we give them a warm Senate welcome.
Please rise. We thank you so very much for what you do. And I'm looking at professional development indeed. It is absolutely necessary that we pull the next generation. Your organization, as the senator has told us, is now 41 years old, which means you've survived a whole generation. And you know that the young people are watching and seeing how we can become and continue to become. Thank you for doing that. Senators, let us give them the warm welcome of their Senate. Chair recognizes Senator Obenshain, the senator from Rockingham.
Madam President, I rise for an introduction.
The senator has the floor.
Madam President, while I may be a Hokie at heart, my pocketbook contributed more than a few dollars to James Madison University. And I spent more than a couple of years serving on the Board of Visitors at James Madison University. We have a group here of student leaders from JMU today, led by Dr. Tim Miller, who's Vice President of Student Affairs at JMU. And student leaders with him today include the Student Government Association President, Shadi Bakhtari, the Legislative Affairs Committee Chair, Grace Smith, a nursing student and member of the ROTC, and also learned this morning he's a volunteer with the Harrisonburg Rescue Squad, Jason Fred, and public policy and administration major Jay Norton. They're also joined in the gallery by somebody I guess I can introduce, Savannah Funkhauser, who used to be a legislative aide down the hall. Now she works with JMU. So, Madam President, I would ask you to extend a warm welcome of the Senate to this outstanding group of student leaders and a couple of administrators who are tagging along for the ride.
Please rise, if you are able. Thank you so very much for coming. And the Senator tells us that you are student leaders, and that takes quite a bit on top of your studies. So that is a sacrificial job. Not lambs, but sacrificial indeed. Thank you for doing that. And sometimes, you know, you hear a lot of complaints and you wonder if it was worth it. I tell you that it is. It only pushes you further along the leadership scale. Senators, let us give them the warm welcome of their Senate. Chair recognizes Senator Lucas, the senator from Portsmouth.
Thank you, Madam President. I hope my group hasn't gotten lost up there. But, Madam President, seated in the gallery today, I'd like for the Senate to welcome the Virginia Community Health Care Association. And one of the individuals is Barbara Willis, who is the President CEO of the Portsmouth Community Health Center on High Street. So with that introduction, Madam President, I would appreciate it if you would extend to them the very warm welcome of the Senate.
Please rise. They are here, Senator. They are here. Thank you all very much. The Virginia Community Health Care Association is extremely important. I don't have to tell you that. We need health care in our communities, especially our underserved areas. And, you know, we do have issues still where there's a trust involved. Thank you for being there to help get over that hump. Senators, let us give them the warm welcome of their Senate. Chair recognizes Senator Cosgrove, the senior senator from Chesapeake.
Thank you, Madam President, and good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I rise for the purposes of an introduction.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. Ladies and gentlemen of the Senate, today we have with us the modern Republican federal PAC folks. Mod PAC works to positively impact the direction of our nation, our individual states, and our local communities through outreach, recruiting, training, education, advocacy, and activism. They are a federal non-connected political action committee working to engage the 100+ million millennial and Gen Z voters in the United States. And their goal is to unite conservatives around the 5 key principles while promoting social tolerance and inclusion within the Republican Party. And those principles are that the free enterprise system is the most productive supplier of human needs and economic justice. 2, that all individuals are entitled to equal rights, justice, and opportunities and should assume their responsibilities as citizens in a free society. 3, the fiscal responsibility and budgetary restraints must be exercised at all levels of government. 4, that the federal government must preserve individual liberty by observing constitutional limitations. And finally, that peace is best preserved through a strong national defense. Madam President, in the gallery today, we have the chairwoman of Mod PAC, and that's Dacia Marks-Reese, if they would rise. We also have Mary Beth Hurl, who's the Director of Finance. And Madam President, the other gentleman that's there, he's Gary Marks-Reese, and he is also an immigrant, came from Austria. He and Dacia own M&T Manufacturing in Chesapeake. And for an immigrant, he's the most American I know. So, Madam President, I hope you will offer them the very warmest welcome of the Virginia Senate.
Good afternoon to you, and thank you for coming and seeing us up close and in person. And to a fellow immigrant, what a wonderful country America is indeed. Thank you for doing what you do. Senators, let us give them the warm welcome of their Senate. Chair recognizes Senator Hanger, the senator from Augusta.
Thank you, Madam President. I rise for purposes of an introduction and thank you recognition.
Thank you, Senator. You have the floor.
Madam President. Today, I'm pleased, and perhaps many of you have already noticed, that the Virginia beef, cattle, and dairy industry are here today as proud sponsors of lunches for members of the Virginia General Assembly, including the delegates and senators and staff. I hope you too, Madam President, have gotten a steak, and I think I saw the governor in line down there. These are two of the largest sectors of Virginia agriculture, and collectively the Virginia Cattlemen's Association and the Virginia State Dairymen's Association represent industries employing more than 50,000 people in occupations ranging from working the farms that are home to some 1.5 million cattle to the numerous value-added businesses for beef and milk products. Today's lunch features products produced on Virginia farms and processed by Virginia businesses. And Madam President, while the senator from Rockingham and I represent Rockingham and Augusta and often claim that area to be the epicenter of agriculture, I want to point out that steak that's here today is from cattle raised in Virginia but processed in Seven Hills Foods in Lynchburg. They're an APHID grant recipient. Milk produced by Virginia dairy farmers and packaged and distributed from Mayola Milk, located in Newport News, Virginia. Ice cream from Homestead Creamery, a farmer-owned creamery in Burnt Chimney, Virginia. Was that close to Senator Stanley, sir? You're all right. The ice cream from Homestead Creamery, a farmer, I said that. Potato chips are from Route 11 Chips in Mount Jackson, and also an APHID grant recipient, made from potatoes grown on the Virginia's eastern shore and distributed through the Valley Pike Market in Weir's Cave. Together, Madam President, beef and dairy industries provide more than $14 billion to the state's economy through jobs, support of local businesses, exports, and productive land use. Cattle and dairy producers in Virginia are important contributors to a strong economy, food security, and a healthy environment, and are appreciative of the service of all of the members here in the General Assembly that they provide to the proud citizens of the Commonwealth of Virginia. Madam President, I'm not sure any of them made it into the gallery yet. They were down on Bank Street. I hope some of them have been up here. If not, you can go down and get some lunch on Bank Street. Thank you, Madam President.
If you are here, please rise. Well, if not, I tell you, Senator, I remember one time a commercial that said, "Where is the beef?" And I can tell you there was a lot of beef on that sandwich this morning. So, very tasty. Chair recognizes Senator Rouse. Chair recognizes Senator Edwards, the senator from Roanoke City.
Madam President, pursuant to Rule 14 of HJR 471, the scheduling resolution, I move that the special and continuing joint order relating to judicial elections be suspended until Wednesday, February the 22nd.
The question is, pursuant to Rule 14 of House Joint Resolution 471, the scheduling resolution, shall the special and continuing joint order relating to judicial elections be suspended until Wednesday, February 22nd. All in favor of the motion will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 40, no 0.
Ayes 40, no 0. The special and continuing joint order will be suspended until Wednesday, February 22nd. Is there any other business for the morning hour? Hearing none, the clerk We'll call the calendar.
Senate calendar for Thursday, February 16, 2023. Page 6. Unfinished business. House Bill 1486. The House has rejected the Senate amendment.
Chair recognizes Senator.
That'd be me.
Senator Peterson, senator from Fairfax City.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that we insist on our amendment and request a committee of conference.
The question is, shall the Senate insist and request on a committee of conference on House Bill 1486? All those in favor of that motion will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 40, no 0.
Ayes 40, no 0. The Senate insists and requests a committee of conference.
Unfinished business Senate. Senate Bill 999 has passed the House with amendments.
Chair recognizes Senator Mason, the senator from Williamsburg.
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, I move we accept the House amendments. And speaking to that motion.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, this is a bill for waterworks and wastewater work operators, and we just continue to work with DPOR along the path. We clarified that one section they wouldn't have to go and reapply. That was the point of the whole bill. And then there was some verbiage about a report and regulations being issued in 30 days. We never intended that to be a part of it in the first place, so we removed that. So we just conformed the House version yesterday in general laws, Madam President, so I move we accept these amendments and please pass the bill. Thank you, Madam President.
The question is, shall the Senate concur with the House amendments on Senate Bill 999? Those in favor of that motion will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 40, no 0.
Ayes 40, no 0. The Senate concurs with the House amendments.
Senate Bill 1042 has passed the House with a substitute.
Chair recognizes Senator McPike, the senator from Prince William.
Thank you, Madam President. Move that we concur with the House substitute in speaking to the motion.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you very much. It's the changes of easy technical one. It actually just changes. The Senate version had ombudsman. The agency has requested director instead of ombudsman. So that is the nature of the substitute, and request we concur. Thank you.
The question is, shall the Senate concur with the House substitute for Senate Bill 1042? Those in favor of the motion will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 40, no 0.
Ayes 40, no 0. The Senate concurs with the House substitute.
Senate Bill 1064 has passed the House with amendment.
Chair recognizes Senator Sproul, the senator from Northern Chesapeake.
Thank you. Speaking to Senate Bill 1064.
The senator may continue.
Thank you. I ask that we accept the amendments from the House. All this does, Madam Chair, is relating to title insurance for non-repairable vehicle. All they did was on line 42, they changed the word OR to OF.
The question is, shall the Senate concur with the House amendments? Those in favor of the motion will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 40, no 0.
Ayes 40, no 0. The Senate concurs.
Senate Bill 1120 has passed the House with a substitute.
Chair recognizes Senator Stanley, the senator from Franklin County.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that we concur with the House substitute and speaking to that motion.
The senator has the floor.
I know. It's hard when I have to make a motion to concur with a House substitute, but I stand here today before you, ladies and gentlemen, to ask that you do it. Because what this bill does, if you remember, it allows the commissioner to serve certain subpoenas for the discovery of records to try to fight waste, fraud, and abuse that was going on when unemployment insurance monies were paid out. Over $1 billion paid out to people that utilized identity theft in order to gain monies that they were not entitled to. What this change in the substitute does is it merely makes what the senator from Northern Fairfax did, which was making sure an attorney signed the subpoena for the records. That change included only that it would be an attorney from the VEC, employed by the VEC, who could sign those subpoenas. And for those reasons, Madam President, I now move once again, regretfully, to concur with the House substitute.
The question is, shall the Senate concur with the House substitute? Those in favor of the motion will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 40, no 0.
Ayes 40, no 0. The Senate concurs.
Senate Bill 1147 has passed the House with a substitute.
Chair recognizes Senator Boysko, the senator from northwestern Fairfax County.
Madam President, I move that we concur with the House substitute.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. SB 1147 addresses the need to treat victims of human trafficking more effectively in our healthcare system. The House substitute, I think, is the stronger bill. It sets out the option for teaching classes on human trafficking, and I ask that we vote in favor of the substitute.
The question is, shall the Senate concur with the House substitute? Those in favor of the motion will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 40, no 0.
Ayes 40, no 0. The Senate concurs.
Senate Bill 1155 has passed the House with amendments.
Chair recognizes Senator Mason, the senator from Williamsburg.
Thank you, Madam President. I move we accept the House amendments. Speaking to that motion.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. This is Section 1 bill, and you just never can describe a Section 1 bill enough. So the First Amendment is to elaborate on what we're really trying to do. The second speaks to a recognized national accreditation body, and the third says they shall produce a report. And those are the amendments, Madam President, so I ask we pass the bill.
The question is, shall the Senate concur with the House amendments on Senate Bill 1155? Those in favor of the motion will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 39, no 0.
Ayes 39, no 0. The Senate concurs.
Senate Bill 1448, we are awaiting House action. Uncontested calendar, House bills on third reading.
Chair calls on Senator Saslaw, the senior senator from Fairfax County.
Madam President, I move that all House bills on third reading on the uncontested calendar, pages 9 through 19, that's House Bill 2457 through 2463, that be advanced to their final passage in a block after the adoption of any amendments thereto, and any senator desiring to remove a bill from the block, please do so after the clerk has read the number of the bill.
The question is, shall the House bills on the uncontested calendar, third reading, pages 9 through 19, House Bills 2457 through House Bill 2463, be placed upon their final passage in the block after the adoption of any amendments thereto, with the understanding that any senator desiring a bill to be removed from the block will do so after the clerk has read the number of the bill. All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The motion is agreed to. The bills are before us in the block. The clerk will now read the number of the bills.
House Bill 2457, reported from the Committee on Education and Health, and there is a floor substitute.
Chair recognizes Senator DeStaff.
Madam President.
Chair recognizes Senator Hashmi, the senior senator from Chesterfield.
Thank you, Madam President. The senior senator from Virginia Beach and I are still working on the floor amendment. I respectfully ask that the floor amendment as well as HB 2457 go by for the day.
Without objection, House Bill 2457 is out of the block and by for the day.
House Bill 1995, reported from the Committee on Transportation with a substitute.
Chair recognizes Senator Marsden, the senator from Western Fairfax County.
Thank you, Madam President. I move, with the recommendation that it be rejected, I move the Senate Transportation Committee amendments. And speaking to that motion?
I have a substitute, sir.
Yes, I move that we reject, with a recommendation that we reject the substitute, I move the committee substitute. And speaking to that.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you very much. A little case of over legislation here. Both the bill that it was conformed to, Senator Cosgrove's, and this bill had the same provision in it. And what the provision is it doesn't change existing law except in one way, which is extends from 10 to 30 business days the deadline for issuing a summons for an alleged violation of passing a stopped school bus in order for proof that the motor vehicle passed a stopped school bus and that the defendant was the registered owner of the vehicle, to give rise to a rebuttable presumption that the owner of the vehicle was the operator during the violation. It just provides some extra time to make sure that you got the right individual. That's all this bill does. It's also contained in the bill that it was originally conformed to in Senate, and that bill can go on its merry way and be passed in the House, and this bill can stand alone as it is, and we avoid a committee of conference and save a lot of paper.
Chair recognizes Senator Cosgrove, the senior senator from Chesapeake. The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. Ladies and gentlemen, the head of the Senate, I hope you will go ahead and reject the substitute. Basically, the real idea of going from 14 to 30 days is that 14 days is inclusive of weekends and holidays, and sometimes it's just not enough time. Delegate Kriezik's bill, that's the only thing in his bill. I hope that we'll go ahead and reject the substitute and let it stand on its own. Thank you.
Chair recognizes Senator McDougall, the senator from Hanover.
Mr. Chairman, would the gentleman from Eastern Fairfax yield for a question?
Will the senator from Eastern Fairfax yield for a question?
I will yield for a question on a bill I have nothing to do with.
The senator yields. Senator McDougall has the floor.
Mr. Chairman, since I know that Mr. President, since I know Madam President, since I know the individuals in the gallery went to, earlier today, went to his esteemed undergraduate institution, I thought his learned mind might be able to tell me, do we have those types of rebuttable presumptions anymore, or do we use impermissible inferences?
Senator Sorovel has the floor.
Madam President, how I'd answer the gentleman is that the Court of Appeals has said that rebuttable presumptions are inappropriate in a criminal context, and that we're supposed to use permissive inferences. This statute is a traffic infraction, which kind of lives in the, I don't believe it has a penal consequence, and so I think it kind of lives in a potentially a constitutional gray place where I'm not sure whether that precedent would apply or not, but in general, I think we're supposed to be getting away from rebuttable presumptions in the criminal context.
Thank you, Madam President. Thank the gentleman.
Madam President.
Chair recognizes Senator Chase, the junior senator from Chesterfield.
Thank you, Madam President. Can House Bill 1995, the bill we just discussed on page 9, come out of the block, please?
Senator, we already have a motion on the floor, and it is to reject. So I think it will fulfill your purpose, I think. With the recommendation that it be rejected, the question is, shall the substitute from the Committee on Transportation be agreed to? Those in favor of that motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The substitute is rejected. Senator, would you still like it to come out of the block? Without objection, House Bill 1995 is out of the block.
House Bill 1422, reported from the Committee on the Judiciary. House Bill 1509, reported from the Committee on Local Government. House Bill 2032, reported from the committee, the committee amendment has been adopted by the Senate. House Bill 2165 is reported from the Committee on the Judiciary. House Bill 1375, reported from the Committee on Commerce and Labor with amendment.
Chair recognizes Senator Saslaw.
I move that we adopt the amendment.
The question is, shall the committee amendment be agreed to? Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The committee amendment is agreed to.
House Bill 1471, reported from the Committee on Commerce and Labor with amendments.
Chair recognizes Senator Donovan, the senator from Enrico. Without objection, House Bill 1471 passes by temporarily.
House Bill 1477, reported from the Committee on Commerce and Labor. House Bill 1544, reported from the Committee on Commerce and Labor. House Bill 1546, reported from the Committee on Commerce and Labor. House Bill 1604, reported from the Committee on Commerce and Labor.
Madam President.
Chair recognizes Senator McClellan, the senior senator from Richmond.
Thank you, Madam President. Sorry, I think we skipped it, but after conferring with the patron, could House Bill 1604 on page 13 come out of the block and by for the day?
Without objection, House Bill 1604 is out of the block and by for the day.
House Bill 1637, reported from the Committee on Commerce and Labor with a substitute.
Chair recognizes Senator Saslaw.
Madam President, I would move that we adopt the substitute.
The question is, shall the committee substitute be agreed to? Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The substitute is agreed to.
House Bill 1640, reported from the Committee on Commerce and Labor. House Bill 1727, reported for the Committee on Commerce and Labor with a substitute.
Chair again recognizes Senator Saslaw.
Madam President, I would move that we adopt the substitute.
The question is, shall the substitute be adopted? Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The substitute is adopted.
House Bill 1776, reported for the Committee on Commerce and Labor. House Bill 1778, reported for the Committee on Commerce and Labor. House Bill 1886, reported for the Committee on Commerce and Labor. House Bill 1921, reported from the Committee on Commerce and Labor with a substitute.
Senator Saslaw.
I would move that we adopt the substitute.
The question is, shall the substitute be adopted? Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The substitute is adopted.
House Bill 2009, reported from the Committee on Commerce and Labor. House Bill 2026, reported for the Committee on Commerce and Labor with a substitute.
Senator Saslaw.
Again, I would move that we adopt the substitute.
The question is, shall the committee substitute be adopted? Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The substitute is adopted.
House Bill 2179, reported from the Committee on Commerce and Labor. House Bill 2198, reported from the Committee on Commerce and Labor with amendment.
Again, Senator Saslaw.
Again, I would move that we adopt the amendment.
The question is, shall the committee amendment be adopted? Those in favor will say aye. There you are. Those opposed, no. The committee amendment is adopted.
House Bill 2199, reported from the Committee on Commerce and Labor. House Bill 2201, reported from the Committee on Commerce and Labor, and there are 3 floor amendments.
Chair recognizes Senator Donovan, the senator from Henrico.
Thank you, Madam President. I move we waive the reading of the floor amendments.
The question is, shall the reading of the floor amendments for House Bill 2201 be waived? Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The reading of the floor amendments are waived. Senator Donovan.
Thank you, Madam President. Move the floor amendments and speak to the motion.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. Ladies and gentlemen, these amendments are modifications proposed by the SCC to the bill we have before us on an association health plan for the restaurants. And the SCC actually had a conversation with the federal government to make sure that this was going to be something that would be allowable under federal law. And the Department of Labor and others reviewed it and came up with a very few language changes that we thought were very amenable and helpful and do not change the intent of the bill but better specify it. So we were very happy to make those amendments, and by doing this today and adding these amendments to the House bill, it will align with my bill in the House and save us all one more conference committee. So with that, Madam President, I move that we accept the amendments.
The question is, shall the floor amendments be agreed to? Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The floor amendments are agreed to.
House Bill 2216, reported from the Committee on Commerce and Labor with a substitute.
Chair recognizes again Senator Saslaw.
Again, I would move that we adopt the substitute.
The question is, shall the substitute be agreed to? Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The substitute is agreed to.
House Bill 2262, reported from the Committee on Commerce and Labor. House Bill 2354, reported from the Committee on Commerce and Labor, and there are 2 floor amendments.
Chair recognizes Senator Saslaw.
Yes, these are 2 technical amendments, essentially.
Are you waiving the reading, sir?
I'll waive reading, yeah.
The question is, shall the reading of the floor amendments be waived? Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The reading of the floor amendments are waived. Senator Saslaw.
To explain the amendments. On line 40 in the bill, it had subsection F. It should have read subsection E. And on line 272, again, it's just a minor change. They had when the bill would take effect, and their language in the written bill was take effect on or after. General language used in our code is become effective on. So it doesn't change the bill, it just changes some of the words describing it. When it becomes effective, date doesn't change.
The question is, shall the floor amendments be agreed to? Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The floor amendments are agreed to.
House Bill 2418, reported from the Committee on Commerce and Labor. House Bill 2422, reported from the Committee on Commerce and Labor with a substitute.
Senator Saslaw.
I would move that we adopt the substitute.
The question is, shall the substitute be adopted? Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The substitute is adopted.
House Bill 2444, reported from the Committee on Commerce and Labor. House Bill 2463, reported from the Committee on Commerce and Labor with amendment.
Senator Saslaw.
I move that we adopt the amendment.
The question is, shall the committee amendments be adopted? Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The committee amendments are adopted. You ready? Ready. Chair recognizes Senator Donovan, the senator from Enrico.
Thank you, Madam President. On Senate Bill, or House Bill 1471,
Page 12.
Page 12, thank you. I would request that we sever the amendments and consider Amendment 1 and 2 together and 3 separately.
The question is, shall the committee amendments 1 and 2 be accepted? Those in favor of that motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The committee amendments are accepted.
Thank you,
Senator.
Madam President. With the recommendation that we reject the third amendment, I move that amendment and would like to speak to it.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chairman, Madam President. This amendment that I'm speaking to was originally put on, very thoughtfully, I'll say, by the Finance Committee here in the Senate because it was uncertain as to whether or not funds would be required to continue the work group. And in the process of crossover, it was established that no additional funds were needed for the work group, and therefore that clause was removed in the House. And once again, my friends, by making these amendments, we align it to the my bill now in the Senate, which will save us yet one more conference committee. I move that we reject and then move the amendment number 3.
The question is, with the recommendation that it be rejected, shall amendment number 3 be agreed to? Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. Committee amendment number 3 is rejected.
Returning to page 9. Oh, sorry. Forgot the block.
The question is,
Madam President,
for what purpose does the gentleman from Roanoke County rise?
I have an inquiry.
The senator has the floor.
There's so many bills on the block, I can't see if it's in there or not. Is House Bill 2444 still on the block or not?
It is, sir.
Madam President, I'd ask that that come out of the block.
What page is that?
On page 19.
Page 19. That was 2444?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much.
The question is, shall the House bills in the block pass? That is all bills except for House Bill 2457, page 9, 1995, page 9, House Bill 1604, page 13, and House Bill 2444, page 19. All in favor of the motion will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 40, no 0.
Ayes 40, no 0. The bills in the block pass.
Now, on page 9, House Bill 1995.
Chair again recognizes Senator Marsden, the senator from Western Fairfax County.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that the bill pass. And speaking to that,
the senator may continue.
Thank you, Madam President. This is a very simple bill. It just changes the amount of time by which a summons can be issued in a situation where a camera has caught a vehicle passing a school bus. And going from 10 to 30 days gives the person who is going to issue the summons time to verify that it is the right person they're sending it to and to make sure that justice is done appropriately. And I reiterate my motion that the bill pass.
The question is, shall the bill pass? Those in favor of that motion will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 40, no 0.
Ayes 40, no 0. The bill passes.
On page 19, House Bill 2444.
Senator Saslaw.
2444, Madam President,
The senator has the floor.
Is a bill by Delegate Bloxham. It's identical to the Senate Bill 1441, Senator Locke's, which passed the body here 38-2. And what it does requires the State Corporation Commission in conducting a review of requests for cost recovery by a Phase 2 utility for costs associated with generating facilities utilizing energy derived from offshore wind, that in the process of considering this, to take into consideration the economic development benefits of the project for the Commonwealth, including capital investment, job creation, arising from the construction and operation. The other thing is it accelerates the timeline for public utilities to construct or purchase more than one project. In other words, Dominion is on one, there's a thing for another, which said they'd had to do it by 2034, 34. This reduces it to 2032, that they have to do this by. That's just, that's a change, that's it.
The question is, shall the bill pass? Those in favor of the motion will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 38, noes 2.
Ayes 38, noes 2. The bill passes.
Regular calendar House bills on third reading. House Bill 1752, a bill relating to public utilities, fiber optic broadband lines crossing railroads. Reported from the Committee on Commerce and Labor with a substitute.
Chair recognizes Senator Saslaw.
Madam President, this delegate heads bill, and it's similar now to what Senator Stanley had here earlier in the session. It provides, it's the broadband bill.
Are you moving the substitute?
I move that we accept the substitute.
The question is, shall the committee substitute be agreed to? Those in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The substitute is agreed to. The senator may continue.
Yeah, if it raised the crossing fee, and it also sets up a mechanism by which the railroads, if they feel that it's a safety hazard or it will require more work than the fee will require of them, they can apply to the SCC for a variation in the fee. So essentially, if you remember, initially we were talking about $500. What is passed here is the fee is now $2,000. There seems to be an agreement by everybody, and the railroads, like they said, if it's going to create a hardship for them, then they can file with the SCC. But this is definitely needed for us to expand broadband to areas that don't have it. It's a real necessity, and I would move that it pass.
Chair recognizes Senator Stanley, the senator from Franklin County.
Thank you, Madam President. Speaking to the measure.
The senator has the floor.
House Bill 1752 is in its final iteration when it comes to the negotiations that we've had with the railroad companies, with those companies that are laying the fiber optic cable. And quite frankly, I think it's just very important for me, if you'll just indulge me just a moment, to describe the changes that have been made based on those iterations over time. How much the fiber optic broadband installers have worked and tried to work with the railway. As the senior senator from Fairfax stated, the fees, when they started out on the bill, started out at $500. Now they're $2,000. We have separated now in this recent iteration out any pass-through costs from licensing fees to ensure no railroads are not made whole. So they will not have any cost to bear in the installation of these fiber optic cables on, along, or across their railroad tracks. we have made in those pass-through costs where the installers will pay for flaggers, the administrative costs, all the engineering, all of these things are so very important. In the process, we even separated the scheduling of flaggers from the application timeline, so it's not a part of the 35-day timeline. We extended the application timeline, allowing the railroads a period of time to request application clarifications or additional information. We even said what would be a proper application and what those things had to be included in it. We changed the process from written notice to an application process subject to railroad approval. We extended the State Corporation Commission's time for review. If they have any issue with the application that's made by the installer, the railroads can go to SEC and within that extended timeline ask for a review. We put back in the short line railroads because the short line railroads that wanted out now wanted back in. The SEC will now serve as neutral arbitrator in cases of disputes and all crossing disputes. And finally, in the safety realm, we removed scheduling of flaggers from the application timeline, increased insurance requirements, and made specific crossing safety requirements that are added to ensure that this goes smoothly and safely. And as the senior senator from Fairfax says, we've got to have this, and we got to have it now. Virginia has invested over $1 billion, but there's a timeline to it. So let's get it done. And so I move that HB 1752 pass.
Would the gentleman yield for a question?
Will the senator from Franklin County yield?
I will yield.
The senator yields. Senator Deeds has the floor.
I would ask the gentleman if he can give me assurances that none of the components for this broadband were manufactured in the People's Republic of China.
Senator Stanley.
Madam President, I would say not down in Southside. We don't accept Chinese products in our ground in Southside, so no. All American. Thank you, Madam President.
Chair recognizes Senator Boysko, the senator from northwestern Fairfax County.
Thank you, Madam President. Speaking to the bill.
The senator has the floor.
And to the substitute, I urge the body to support the substitute. This, as you just heard from our good friend from Franklin County, has been worked very hard. This is an issue that has been a real challenge for more than a decade, and those of us on the Broadband Advisory Council have heard numerous presentations over the years. This is more progress than we've ever seen. As you understand, we've got billions of dollars at stake with a timeline. It's imperative that we get this right, and I want to thank my colleagues for working so hard to get this done, and all the stakeholders as well.
Chair recognizes Senator Obenshain, the senator from Rockingham.
Madam President, I rise to speak to the bill.
The senator has the floor.
Madam President, all I can say is I commend the stakeholders for working hard on this. I commend them for the progress they've made. I hope that the stakeholders will voluntarily agree to comply with the terms of this clearly unconstitutional statute. And I think that the object of this is clearly worthy. And all joking aside, this does involve the taking by code of a property right. An easement is a property right from one private entity, that is the railroad, and conveying it to another private entity. Even if it is compensated, it is a taking. So I just hope all the stakeholders are happy. I hope that the railroads will take the money and run and allow the installation of this broadband, and I hope that this works.
The question is, shall the bill pass? Those in favor of passage will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 39, no 0, Rule 36-1.
Ayes 39, no 0, Rule 36-1. The bill passes.
House Bill 1777, a bill relating to Phase 1 Utilities Annual Rate Tune-Up Reviews. Reported from the Committee on Commerce and Labor.
Madam President, could that bill go by for the day, please?
Without objection, House Bill 1777 goes by for the day.
House Bill 1895, a bill relating to non-disclosure or confidentiality agreement non-disparagement provisions, claims of sexual harassment. Reporting from the Committee on Commerce and Labor with a substitute.
Chair recognizes Senator Saslaw.
Madam President, I move we adopt the substitute.
The question is, shall the substitute be adopted? Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The substitute is adopted. Senator Saslaw.
The substitute essentially is added quite a bit. When the bill left the House, it applied these non-disclosure prohibitions. I think was only sexual harassment. The Senate Labor and Commerce Committee, and this bill is probably going to be guaranteed to be in conference, but the Senate Commerce and Labor Committee added to it sexual harassment, sexual assault, or discrimination. It bars that. It says prohibits employer from requiring an employee, former employee, prospective employee, to execute or renew any provision in a non-disclosure, non-disparagement, or confidentiality agreement relating to the allegation of sexual assault or discrimination, including sexual harassment. Prohibits the employer from retaliating against the employee, former employee, prospective employer, independent contractor for disclosing or discussing the conduct that the employee reasonably believed to be sexual assault or discrimination. And it provides that the provisions of the bill do not prevent agreements to shield an employee's identity or agreements to protect trade secrets or proprietary information. Creates a civil cause of action for violations for actual damages or statutory damages of 10 grand, whichever is greater, as well as reasonable attorney's fees and cost. That's it. And with that, I'd move it, the bill HB 1895 pass.
The question is, shall the bill pass? Those in favor of passage will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 22, noes 18.
Ayes 22, noes 18. The bill passes.
House Bill 1924, a bill relating to minimum wage employees with disabilities. Reported from the Committee on Commerce and Labor. That one's.
Chair recognizes Senator Hanger, the senator from Augusta.
Thank you, Madam President. I would ask that bill go by for the day.
Without objection, House Bill 1924 goes by for the day.
House Bill 2010, a bill relating to the Virginia Employment Commission, authorized representative or member of commission powers. Reported from the Committee on Commerce and Labor with a substitute.
Chair recognizes Senator Saslaw.
Madam President, I move the adoption of the substitute.
The question is, shall the substitute be agreed to? Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The substitute is agreed to. Senator Saslaw.
The substitute, again, is excuse me, slightly different than what Senate Bill 1120 by Senator Stanley had, which passed this body 37-2. The committee substitute provides that the commissioner has the authority to authorize any attorney employed by the commission to have the power to issue a subpoena, whereas the bill that passed the Senate essentially provided an attorney for the Commonwealth is authorized, which would probably mean the Attorney General's office, I guess. This narrows it, saying the attorney has to, that the commissioner authorized has to come from the State Corporation Commission. And with that, I move its passage.
The question is, shall the bill pass? Those in favor of that motion will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 40, no 0.
Ayes 40, no 0. The bill passes.
Uncontested calendar, House bills on second reading.
Chair recognizes again Senator Saslaw.
Madam President, I move that all House bills on second reading on the uncontested and regular calendars, pages 21 through 43, that's House Bill 1408 through 2471, that the rules be suspended and the second constitutional reading of the titles be dispensed with.
The question is, shall the rules be suspended and the second reading of the titles of House bills on both the uncontested and regular calendars, pages 21 through 43, House Bills 1408 through House Bills 2471, be dispensed with? Those in favor of the motion will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 40, no 0.
Ayes 40, no 0. The reading of the titles is dispensed with. Senator Saslaw.
Madam President, I now move that those bills that we just passed go by for the day.
The question is,
constitutionally moved.
The question is, shall the House bills on the uncontested and regular calendars now on their third reading go by for the day? Those in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The bills will go by for the day.
Uncontested calendar, Senate Joint Resolution on first reading. Senate Joint Resolution 317, confirming appointments by the governor of certain persons communicated to the General Assembly February 1st, 2023. Memorial resolutions.
Chair recognizes again Senator Saslaw.
Madam President, I move that the memorial resolutions on pages 44 through 47, that's HJR 609 through SR 134, be considered in the block in the usual manner, waiving the reading of the resolutions thereof, with the understanding any senator desiring to move a resolution from the block will do so after the clerk has read the title to the resolution.
The question is, shall the memorial resolutions on pages 44 through 47, House Joint Resolution 609 through Senate Resolution 134, be considered in the block in the usual manner, waiving the reading of the resolutions thereof, with the understanding that any senator desiring a resolution removed from the block will do so after the clerk has read the number and the title of the resolution. All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The motion is agreed to. The resolutions are before us in the block. The clerk will read the titles of the memorial resolutions.
House Joint Resolution 609, celebrating the life of the Reverend Monsignor Joseph Patrick Lehman III. House Joint Resolution 615, celebrating the life of John Victor Moser. House Joint Resolution 619, celebrating the life of Mary Elizabeth Baker Stewart. House Joint Resolution 620, celebrating the life of K. Donald Niswander. House Joint Resolution 629, celebrating the life of Eric J. Maybach, M.D. House Joint Resolution 630, celebrating the life of Ellsworth L. B. Weaver, Sr. House Joint Resolution 634, celebrating the life of Bruce Hunter Nielsen. House Joint Resolution 635, celebrating the life of Hayla Haley Boyd. House Joint Resolution 636.
The senators are reminded that at this time, it is normal procedure and tradition to remain in one seat.
House Joint Resolution 636, celebrating the life of Bonalyn Bug Pritchard. House Joint Resolution 641, celebrating the life of Elizabeth Lewis Beamer. House Joint Resolution 647, celebrating the life of Braylon Edward Mead. Senate Joint Resolution 318, celebrating the life of Francis Reed Jenkins. Senate Joint Resolution 320, celebrating the life of the Honorable Charles L. Waddell.
Madam President.
Chair recognizes the senator from northwestern Fairfax County.
Can we take that out of the block, please?
Without objection, Senate Joint Resolution 320 is out of the block.
Senate Joint Resolution 321, celebrating the life of Mohammed Jafar Eman. Senate Joint Resolution 324, celebrating the life of Brian Rawl Becker. Senate Joint Resolution 325, celebrating the life of Kent Dwayne Carter. Senate Joint Resolution 327, celebrating the life of Barbara Arendrick. Senate Joint Resolution 328, celebrating the life of Gary Charles Schrone. Senate Joint Resolution 329, celebrating the life of Marlon G. Lord. Senate Joint Resolution 333, celebrating the life of Temple Lyman Kessinger, Jr. Senate Joint Resolution 335, celebrating the life of Braylon Edward Mead. Senate Joint Resolution 338, celebrating the life of Lindsey Gordon Dorier, Jr. Senate Joint Resolution 340, celebrating the life of Bruce Milton Scott. Senate Joint Resolution 346, celebrating the life of Larry S. Buckner, Sr. Senate Joint Resolution 347, celebrating the life of Kevin Michael Raymond. Senate Joint Resolution 349, celebrating the life of Wes Freed. Senate Joint Resolution 350, celebrating the life of Frank Earl Barham. Senate Resolution 128, celebrating the life of Emery L. Fears, Jr. Senate Resolution 129, celebrating the life of the Honorable James P. Massey III.
Madam President.
Chair recognizes the senator from Enrico.
May Senate Resolution 129 please come out of the block?
Without objection, Senate Resolution 129 is out of the block.
Celebrating Senate Resolution 134, celebrating the life of Brenda Ellen Cole Horton.
The resolutions will be agreed to in the usual manner, accepting Senate Joint Resolution 320 and 129 on pages 45 and 47, respectively, which are out of the block. All those in favor of agreeing to the memorial resolutions, please rise. The resolutions are agreed to.
Commending resolutions. Sorry. Returning to Senate Joint Resolution 320.
Chair recognizes Senator Boysko, the senator from northwestern Fairfax County.
Thank you, Madam President. Today we are honoring the life of the gentleman who held the Senate 33rd District seat before I did, Senator Charlie Waddell, who I know everybody loved as the singing senator. I first met him in 2005 when his stepson, Mark Herring, was running for this same seat, the 33rd, and was overwhelmed with the show of support that he was able to bring in January for a special election. And everyone brought memories and conversations about what a great job he had done. And of course, he entertained us all with the Wabash Cannonball song that he sang for Mark Herring, for Jennifer Wexton, for me, and for every other elected official who is running for office in the Leesburg region that I've ever seen. I was not fortunate enough to know him when he was fighting for the transportation improvements that we now enjoy in Northern Virginia, nor was I able to know him in his earlier life, but I was very honored to be at his funeral where his family laid him to rest. He was a lovely man, someone who always brought a smile to my eye. He always had a welcoming hug and just warm words, and I know how much he meant to a lot of you all. And so it is in his memory that I hope we can adjourn this afternoon. Thank you.
Chair recognizes Senator Bell, the senator from Loudoun.
Thank you, Madam President. Speaking to the resolution.
The senator has the floor.
I just want to echo the comments of my friend. Senator Waddell is just a wonderful, kind man. And when I was around him, I just felt goodness. He always had a big smile on his face. One thing I learned from him, I didn't know there were that many verses to the Cannonball song because he'd usually sing them all. But he had a big smile on his face, and to talk about loud and proud, he sang it loud and proud. But if you were around Charlie, you knew that there was love in the midst, and you knew that he had no ill will for anybody. He's a good man. He'll be missed, and I join in honoring his service to this Commonwealth. Thank you, Madam President.
Senate Joint Resolution 22 will be agreed to in the usual manner. All in favor of agreeing to the memorial will please rise. The resolution is agreed to.
Senate Resolution 129, celebrating the life of the Honorable James P. Massey III.
Chair recognizes Senator Donovan, the senator from Enrico.
Thank you, Madam President. I move the resolution and speak to it.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. Jimmy Massey, I think everybody here knew at a point in time, it wasn't that long ago that he was with us, he was truly larger than life, definitely way larger than me. It was comical when we were out on the campaign trail the first time when we would stand in front of a group because there was such a cricking of the neck that had to go between the two of us. He had a bounding voice. He was a businessman. We all knew that. And he was just a wonderfully natured, kind, generous man. He was very helpful to me when I first run and mentoring me and working with me and a lot of the skills you have to learn how to do this job. He dearly, dearly loved his family, children, grandchildren. He loved Henrico and Virginia. And with that, Madam President, I move the resolution.
Chair recognizes Senator McClellan, the senior senator from Richmond.
Thank you, Madam President. Speaking to the resolution.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. When Jimmy Massey was elected to the House of Delegates, he and I were office mates, and there were lots of things we didn't agree on, but we forged a friendship and would often try to understand each other's point of view. And I wanted to share a quick story. When he was working on the education improvement scholarship tax credits, he lobbied me so hard. And I said, Jimmy, I'm not going to vote for that. I'm not going to vote for that. We're just going to have to agree to disagree. And he's like, I don't understand. Why not? I said, Jimmy, go talk to Senator Henry Marsh. And if you can get Henry Marsh to vote for it, then come back and talk to me. But I want you to ask him why he doesn't support it. And he couldn't get in to see Senator Marsh at the time, but the two of them traveled to Israel together and sat together on the bus. And when he came back, he said, I understand now, because Senator Marsh talked to him about massive resistance and how that impacted him and how that shaped his views on education issues. And he said, Jen, I may not agree, but I get it now, and I promise I won't lobby you on this anymore. I said, well, it still stands. If you ever get Henry Marsh to vote for this bill, then I'll consider it. And that was our relationship. And it shows how even when you can't agree on an issue, when you listen and try to understand each other's perspective, you'll both be the better for it. And that's how I will remember Jimmy Massey, and he will be missed.
Senate Resolution 129 will be agreed to in the usual manner. All those in favor of agreeing to the memorial resolution, please rise. The resolution is agreed to.
Commending resolutions.
Chair recognizes Senator Saslaw.
Madam President, I move the commending resolutions on pages 47 through 53. That's HJR 617 through SR 133. Be considered by voice vote in a block, by voice vote waiving the reading of the resolutions thereof, with the understanding any senator desiring to remove resolution from the block will do so after the clerk has read the number of the resolution.
The question is, shall the commending resolutions on pages 47 through 53, House Joint Resolution 617 through Senate Resolution 133, be considered in the block by voice vote, waiving the reading of the resolutions with the understanding that any senator desiring a resolution removed from the block will do so after the clerk has read the number of the resolution? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The resolutions, the ayes have it. The motion is agreed to. The resolutions are before us in the block. The clerk will read the number of the resolution.
617, 618, 621, 623, 624, 625, 626, 627, 628, 631, 632, 633, 637, 638, 639, 640, 643, 644, 645, 646, 648, 649, 650, 651, 652, 653, 654, Senate Joint Resolutions 309, 319, 322, 323.
Madam President. Madam President.
Chair recognizes Senator Hashmi, the senior senator from Chesterfield.
Thank you, Madam President. Can SJR 323 come out of the block and go by for the day?
Without objection, Senate Joint Resolution 326 is out of the block and by for the day. I'm sorry, 323.
$326, $330, $331, $332, $334, $339, $341, $342, $343, $344, $345, $348, $351. Senate Resolutions 122, 124, 125, 126, 127, 130, 131.
Madam President.
Chair recognizes Senator Donovan, the senator from Enrico.
Thank you, Madam President. Can Senate Resolution 132 come out of the block and by for the day for the purpose of signatures?
Without objection, Senate Resolution 132 is out of the block and by for the day.
133.
Madam President.
Chair recognizes Senator Suderline, the senator from Roanoke County.
Thank you, Madam President. Can Senate Joint Resolution 339 come out of the block and by for the day also for the purposes of signatures?
Without objection, Senate Joint Resolution 339 is out of the block and by for the day.
Madam President.
For what purpose does the senator from Enrico rise?
Madam President, I rise to correct myself. I think I said Senate Resolution 132, and I meant Senate Resolution 131.
Yes, Senator. Senate Joint Resolution 132 is back in the block, and Senate Joint Resolution 131 is out of the block. Accepting Senate Joint Resolutions 323, 339, and 131 on pages 51 and 53, respectively. The question is, shall the resolutions be agreed to? All in favor of agreeing to the resolutions will say aye. Those opposed, no. The resolutions are agreed to. Chair recognizes Senator Saslaw.
Madam President, I inquire of the clerk. Does that complete the calendar for today?
Yes, sir.
Chair recognizes Senator Boysko, the senator from northwestern Fairfax County.
Thank you, Madam President. I rise for a point of personal privilege.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. Ladies and gentlemen, I rise with a heavy heart today, and I want you to think about two numbers, the number 47 and the number 68. Today, February 16th, is the 47th day of the year. And as of today, and the day's not over yet, there have been 68 mass shootings in the United States since the beginning of the year. And we're all aware that the very first school shooting of 2023 occurred right here in Virginia on January 6th, when a 6-year-old took a loaded handgun to his elementary school in Newport News and shot his 25-year-old teacher. The Center for Disease Control indicates that from 2011 through 2020, gun deaths increased by 129% in children. Gun violence has now surpassed all other causes of death for children under the age of 18 in Virginia and nationwide. According to the Washington Post, in the United States, there have been 366 school shootings since Columbine in 1999. We're now at a point where students who experience gun violence in primary or high school are now experiencing it again when they get to college. And those of us who were out of school by the late 1990s never had to grapple with this kind of long-term trauma that our kids are facing now. In this week's most recent mass shooting, I believe it was reported last night, 2 students attending Michigan State experienced what I think is unthinkable. 2 mass shootings in their young childhood. One Michigan State student was at Oxford High, just 80 miles north of Michigan State. And then 2 years ago, when a shooter took 4 young lives and injured 7 more. Another of the Michigan State students was a young child at Sandy Hook, when in 2012 a gunman came and killed 20 6- and 7-year-olds and 6 other adults. And while each gun-related incident doesn't end up in tragic loss of life, there's no doubt that there is serious trauma and lifelong impacts in these children who have to deal with this. Since Columbine, more than 388,000 students have experienced gun violence at their schools. I will repeat that. 388,000 students in our country have experienced gun violence at school. These are students who have hid behind their desks, in closets, barricaded themselves in their classrooms, fearing for their lives. These are children who cried out for their parents, who were protected by their teachers, and in many cases, they watched their classmates suffer from injury or death. These are memories that will scar them forever. 300,000, almost 400,000 children. This year, during the General Assembly session, our Senate passed 4 thoughtful, data-driven bills, each which would have positively impact our safety on our children without infringing on anyone's rights to own a gun or use a gun for sports or self-defense, including my bill to safely store guns away from children in the home, because we know that that's where a lot of these gun shootings are getting their guns. They're getting them from their homes. But in the House of Delegates, all 4 of these bills were laid on the table without giving any of the patrons an opportunity to even present the bills. These policies would have protected children. There's data that shows that it would. These are your children. These are your grandchildren. These are my children, my neighbors, your neighbors, the kids who live where we go and campaign at the schools. But apparently, we've allowed playing politics to be more important than protecting the children. And we all talk about the importance of personal responsibility and that we want to protect kids. This has really been an opportunity for us to do something about that. I cannot express the level of disappointment that I have in the way things have gone during this session. And just yesterday, I just hit the wall on it. The work we do in this body and in the body down the hall and in the governor's mansion affects lives. It affects our constituents. These issues are important. And the idea that they don't even get a fair hearing or that we allow politics to get involved in a way that just throws it out the window is a real disappointment. I think it does not speak well to the statesmanship, but I also think that our personal integrity is on the line, and I just couldn't go without saying a word about it today. So I thank you for giving me your time.
Chair recognizes Senator Bell, the senator from Loudoun.
Thank you, Madam President. I rise for an announcement.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you. On behalf of everybody who's a member of the General Assembly Veterans Military Caucus, I want to invite all of you to come to our annual legislative reception tonight at the War Memorial, 7 to 9 p.m. And our good friends at Mission Barbecue are going to have some great food over there. Gives us a chance to celebrate and get to interact with some of our brave soldiers, airmen, sailors, Marines, and others who are there who've served and are serving now. And I hope all of you will be able to come and join us tonight. Thank you, Madam President.
Is there any other business to come before the Senate? Hearing none, the clerk will report any announcements on the desk.
Today, Thursday, February 16th, 2023, the Committee on Transportation will meet 15 minutes after adjournment in Senate Room 3 in the Capitol. The Committee on Finance and Appropriations will meet at 4:30 p.m. in Committee Room B, Pocahontas. The Rural Caucus will not meet today. This is a schedule change. The Legislative Black Caucus will not meet today. This is a schedule change. Tomorrow, Friday, February 17th, 2023, the Committee on Rehabilitation and Social Services will meet at 8 o'clock a.m. in Senate Room A, Pocahontas. The Committee on Rules will meet at 10 o'clock a.m. in Senate Room 3 in the Capitol. The Democratic Caucus will meet 1/2 hour before session in Senate Room 1 in the Capitol. The Republican Caucus will meet 1/2 hour before session in Senate Room 2 in the Capitol. I have a correction. The Committee on Rules will meet at 9:30 a.m. tomorrow in Senate Room 3 in the Capitol. Rules will meet at 9:30 a.m.
Chair recognizes Senator Norman, the senator from James City County.
Thank you, Madam President. I rise for an announcement.
The senator has the floor.
I was remiss, and I appreciate the senator from Loudoun reminding me it's an active evening, but if you have the opportunity at the Library of Virginia tonight at 6 o'clock, the VMI family is hosting a reception, and you can stop by and honor future veterans that will be participating there before you go over to the War Memorial.
Chair calls on Senator Lucas, the senator from Portsmouth.
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, I move that we adjourn until 11 a.m. tomorrow. And in adjourning, we do so in memory of former State Senator Charles L. Waddell.
The question is, shall the Senate adjourn until 12 noon tomorrow in 11 in memory of former Senator Charles L. Waddell? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The motion is agreed to. The Senate stands adjourned until 11 tomorrow.